Okay, class. So in today's lesson, we're going to be looking at drawing straight line graphs using a table and your knowledge, which you practiced last lesson, of substitution. So we're going to break it down and start by, I'm going to talk you through some of the examples that are in the textbook. We'll work through a couple of questions in the textbook, and then the main body of the lesson is going to be doing some questions in the textbook. After that, and then submitting that in as part of a Google assignment. So if we have a look at part B of the straight line graph sort of example to begin with, consider the graph y equals 3x minus 1. Two operations are performed. So multiply by 3, that's the 3x. 3x means 3 times x. So we've multiplied x by 3, and then we've subtracted 1. So we could break that down into these two operations in a sort of flow diagram or a flow chart for how we get from x to y. Y is equal to 3 times x minus 1. So if I times x by 3 and then I subtract 1, I get what y is. So like it says here, when x is equal to 2, I could find out what y is when that's the case by doing 2 times 3 minus 1. So 2 times 3 minus 1 means that y must be 5 when x is 2. And so if we were trying to show y equals 3x minus 1 on a graph, we could plot when x is 2 that y is 5, and so that means it would, this line here, y equals 3x minus 1, must pass through the point 2, 5. And then likewise, if x is 4, then y must be 4 times 3 minus 1, so 4 times 3 is 12, minus 1 is 11, so this line also must pass through the point 4, 11. And likewise, when x is 7, y is going to be 7 times 3 minus 1, so y is going to be 20, so this line must also pass through the point 7, 20. Okay, so let's have a look, now we've looked at that, at the next step, which would be plotting a graph. So if we had instead the graph line of the line y equals 2x plus 4, the sort of flow chart, the flow diagram showing the operations here, x has been multiplied by 2 and then we've added 4, so it would look like this. X times 2 plus 4 gives me what y is equal to, because y is equal to this. Right, so if x is 0, then substituting that into this, we get 0 times 2, which is 0, plus 4 is going to be 4. So that means we're below our x being 0, we've got y being 4, and we've got in this table that we know our line is passing through the point 0, 4, and that's where there it is there. And likewise, if I chose another point like 3, if I substitute 3 into this flow chart, or I substitute 3 into this, I would get 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 4 is 10, so I'm going to get 3, 10, 3, 10. So that explains what this table is. So if we had a look at this in question 1, if I'm trying to plot y equals 2x plus 1, you might just be quite confident without any of this, and just be quite confident substituting your different values of x into it. I'm not going to request or demand that when you do your work in your exercise book that you copy these flowcharts out, but I am expecting otherwise for you to be following the instructions in the textbook, so copying and completing the tables where it tells you to, drawing the graphs using the scales given, and we'll come to the scales given when we get onto that bit to avoid any confusion. Alright, so we're trying to do y equals 2x plus 1 for values of x from 0 to 6, so if x is 0, we're going to do 0 times 2, which is going to be 0, plus 1 means that y must be 1, and then we'd add our coordinates. 0, 1. Please do not draw on your textbook. This is purely because I'm a teacher and to aid in your understanding that I'm doing this, otherwise I wouldn't be doing either. Alright, how about if x is 3? We'd have 3 times 2 plus 1, so 6 plus 1 is 7, so y would be 7, so I'd put the point 3, 7. Okay, we could double check that, if you're not sure, you could just check what you think the answer would be in the textbook and then compare. Well, 4 times 2 would be 8, plus 1 is 9, so I've got the point 49 there. Okay, if I fill the rest of these values in, so I'll have 1, 3, 2, 5, 5, 11, 6, 13. I'm now ready to plot these points, so hopefully we can get this in the same diagram, maybe, perhaps just about. Right, so if I'm trying to plot 0, 1, The x coordinate is the first coordinate there, so on my x-axis I'm going to be at 0 here, and then I have to go up by 1 for my y coordinate, so I know it's going to pass through that point there. There's my 0, 1. For my 1, 3, x is 1, y is 3, so I know that's going to pass through there, and so on. It's actually told me to go up to x being 6 here, but you'll notice I've kind of run out of space when I've decided to plot it. I thought I might only have to go up to 5 here, so that's a good golden rule, that when you're doing these graphs, do your table first so you know how high or how low you need your y-axis to be in order to get all your values in. As it happens, the furthest I can get with the values in my table is up to 2, 5, which is going to be there. But if you look, I have used the right scale that it's asked me to do in the textbook. It told me to use a scale of 1 centimeter representing 1 unit. So 1 unit on my axes is represented by 1 centimeter on my ruler. Okay, so I've not finished this problem yet. I've marked these coordinates, but these coordinates are here to just tell me what this straight line graph looks like. I haven't drawn the graph, I've just plotted some coordinates on it. So make sure, using a sharp pencil and a ruler, that once you've plotted the coordinates, draw a straight line through them and label it. So I've labelled this y equals 2x minus 1, and that's what the line y equals 2x minus 1 looks like on a graph. Okay, again, sharp pencil, ruler, make sure you draw the line. Notice I'm not joining the points up, I'm drawing a line all the way through on my axis because my points have shown me what that line looks like. I'm not just joining them together. If we have a look at one more example before I leave you, let's have a look at question 7. So for question 7, I'm trying to do y equals 3 brackets x plus 1 for x values from 0 to 5. Now you might be confident just substituting into that. You might be confident saying, okay, when x is 0, this is going to become 1 in the bracket, 0 plus 1 is 1, times by 3 is going to give me 3. So I know that when x is 0, y is 3. So I know that this, when I'm plotting this, it must go through the point 0, 3. And likewise, and then I could carry on working my way through. I could use the flow chart that's given to me instead. So, okay, I've got to add 1 to my 1, 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. So 1, 6 is also going to be a coordinate. The main reason I'm going through this second example with you is the scale, which I know some of you might find a bit confusing. I'm told to use the scale that 1 centimeter represents 1 unit on my x. And on my y, unlike the before, 1 centimeter now represents 2 units. So if we have a look at what that means something like this. Now 1 centimeter on my x-axis represents 1 unit, but going on my y-axis, 1 centimeter now represents 2 units, and that means that especially graphical lines which have a steeper gradient, by choosing a scale on your y-axis that goes up by more than 1 unit per division in a square, if you like, that means you're going to be able to fit more of the coordinates on. So I could then go to my table and I've got 0, 3, 0, 3, 1, 6, 1, 6, 2, 9, and certainly if I'd used the scale in the previous graph I would have really struggled to fit all this in. Now though, it's not going to be so difficult. Once you've plotted all the points which will fit on your scale, you can draw a straight line through them using a ruler. Don't just join the points together, straight line through all of them, and remember to label it. In this case I need to label this as y equals 3 brackets x plus 1. Okay, hope that makes clear what I'm asking you to do for these exercises. I will be posting onto the Google assignment and on Show My Homework exactly what questions I want you to do and how I want you to submit it. Please make sure for all of your work that you are properly handing in assignments. Quite a few people are uploading their photos or doing the quiz questions that I'm setting you, but they're forgetting to hand it back in, which means I can't give the whole class feedback. I can't properly check that you've done all your work, and in the end I'm just going to have to be sort of unfortunately ticketing people and messaging the tutors of people who've done the work but who haven't fully submitted, because it's showing up on my screen constantly that you're not completing the work. Make sure that's not you, please. Any questions, do let me know. Contact me during the lesson for any issues you're having. Okay, thank you.